Man, we are down to 4 teams in the NFL. The NFL divisional round is over. Some games were lackluster. The other ones was definitely filled with drama. We're going to go over it real quick. We're going to start with the first game of the weekend. That was the Jacksonville Jaguars taking their talents to Arrowhead, to the Chiefs' kingdom to play the Chiefs. Now, this game was not supposed to be close, but I want to say, was that in the first quarter? I'm pretty sure it was the first quarter or early second quarter to where Patrick Mahomes had a high ankle sprain. Like, he was maneuvering within the pocket. One of the Jags defenders fell on the back of his ankle. It looked pretty nasty. Some people thought it was a lot worse than that, but nevertheless, when that happened, it changed the whole tide of the game because the Chiefs were, the Chiefs looked like they were rolling. Mahomes looked special out there. It was just basically him and Kelsey that first drive. He was just doing whatever he wanted to do. And you had the sense that the game was going to get blown out quickly. But when that happened, it definitely changed the dynamic of the game. You definitely seen him limping at first, and he couldn't really move. He had to get taped up twice. Chad Henne came in there one drive. Yeah, it basically, at this point, it's like, I know that the Chiefs are like really good, and Patrick Mahomes is a really special player. I'm sitting here in the middle of the game just watching him after the injury, still making things happen, still improvising, still extending plays, still just doing enough. So whoever says, Patrick Mahomes is a fluke or, a one-hit wonder, no. If this season did not prove that, I don't know what to tell you. At that point, you're just hating on the man. He's going to win league MVP, in my opinion. The team is hosting, if I'm not mistaken, their 5th straight AFC Championship game. 5th straight AFC Championship game. That's unheard of. The last time that I can think of was, New England possibly with Tom Brady? In all those years that they ran the AFC East? And I would have to fact check that to see if they even hosted 5 straight. There probably been a few times where they hosted 4 straight and didn't have the 1 seed or stuff like that. But 14 to host 5 straight AFC Championship games, that's definitely unheard of. Definitely unheard of. So yeah, as far as the stats of this game, Chiefs ended up winning 27-20. Travis Kelsey, that man was definitely a monster amongst men out there. Kelsey had 14 catches for 98 yards and 2 touchdowns. 17 targets. So Jacksonville know the ball was going to this man multiple times, and there was nothing they could do about it. I mean, absolutely nothing. Hey, man, what's the old phrase said? If it's not broke, don't fix it. That's exactly what the Chiefs did. Isaiah Pacheco, rookie, who dons the number 10 these days. 95 yards on 12 carries. I mean, that's basically 8 yards a carry. He had his way. Patrick Mahomes, despite the injury, 195 in the air, 2 touchdowns, no picks. And the most impressive thing was no turnovers and no sacks. Like, Mahomes or Chad Henne, who came in for a drive, who was 5 of 7 during that drive for a touchdown, no sacks. That's pretty impressive. Trevor Lawrence, he was 24 for 39 for 217, 1 touchdown and 1 pick. That pick came towards the end of the game when it was desperation mode. ETN, 62 yards on the ground on 10 carries and a touchdown. Christian Kirk had 52 yards on 7 catches and a touchdown. Nevertheless, as far as the Jacksonville Jaguars, their future is super bright. Like, we literally watched Trevor Lawrence turn the corner in the middle of this year. And, for him to bounce back after last week's performance where he threw 4 picks in the first half. Comes back around, throw 4 touchdowns in the second half, and have the second biggest playoff comeback in NFL history happen. So, yeah, the future is definitely bright for Jacksonville. Maybe add a couple more pieces, and more importantly, just grow. Just learn from this year. Continue to develop. That team is going to be something special and sustainable for years to come. So, yeah, definitely shout out to the Jags on that one. Then the second game on Saturday, it wasn't really much of a game. Eagles destroyed, waxed, kicked, whatever adjective you want to insert here to insinuate that the Eagles won 38-7, by all means, we can play the name game on that one. But yeah, this game was over quickly. It was 28-0 at halftime. Jalen Hurts, like on the first drive, he threw a bomb to Devontae Smith, and I'm sitting here like, he doesn't look hurt. Any questions about, the shoulder and not being able to, put the ball downfield? That evaporated expeditiously. That went out the window very quick. So yeah, Jalen Hurts, 154 yards in the air, 2 touchdowns. He also had a rushing touchdown. Kenneth Gainwell, 112 yards on the ground and a touchdown. That magic that the Giants had, that fizzled very quick. Daniel Jones hasn't had a game like this in a long time, but what can you do against that Eagles defense? That defense is legit. And I can't wait for next week. We'll talk more about next week on Thursday, but man, Daniel Jones, 15 for 27, 135 yards, 1 interception. Saquon Barkley, 9 carries for 61 yards. Like that was the gist of it. Like, Giants couldn't really do too much of anything at all. But the Giants has had a sensational year by far. Daniel Jones has, he definitely earned himself a contract, in my opinion. Saquon Barkley is going to be a highly coveted free agent in a running back class that is actually pretty good for free agency here. When you include Barkley and Josh Jacobs, possibly Miles Sanders, David Montgomery, Tony Pollard. There are plenty of high quality running backs out here. So it could be musical chairs in that position. I mean, we'll see if the Giants elect to use the franchise tag on Barkley. Maybe not. Maybe they might use it on Daniel Jones. I don't know, but the Giants definitely had, an overachieving season. No one expected them to make the playoffs, let alone make the divisional round, actually get a playoff win and keep it moving. Like, shout out to Brian Dable. Excellent job. Definitely highly considered for Coach of the Year, in my opinion. Now, the games on Sunday. Now, for me, the most highly anticipated game was the Bengals and Bills. A matchup that, for unfortunate reasons, we got robbed of about almost a month ago, right? Because of what happened to DeMar Hamlin, but we are all, happy and relieved that he's going to be all right. But as far as this matchup here, the Bengals bullied the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo. 27-10. Like, there was no sense. At one point in time, there was no sense of this game even being close at all. Learned quite a bit from this game. Like, for starters, the Cincinnati Bengals are really that team. They are. Anybody think that they was a fluke from last year, like a one-hit wonder, like, the same things that we was talking about with Patrick Mahomes not too long ago, just, being lightning in the pan, like just a quick flash, lightning in a bottle, whatever you want to call it. Like, that narrative is dead. This team is real. The Cincinnati Bengals are real. Now I get it. Like, Buffalo, Buffalo might have many excuses, but whatever excuse you want to use Stephon Diggs wasn't going because apparently after the game, that man grabbed his stuff before the coaches could even get back in the tunnel. One of his teammates had to, tried to convince him to come back. He stayed for a few minutes and he dipped out. Stephon Diggs didn't want to have anything to do with it. The competitor and me, I get it to a certain degree, right? You're tired of losing. This is 3 straight years of heartbreak in the playoffs. You couldn't even get back to the AFC Championship game. You couldn't even get back to the opponent that continues to have put you out the playoffs, which is the Kansas City Chiefs. So now you're looking at it like, man, we're third best team in the AFC now? Because the Bengals just came in here and waxed us, and we can't even make it to the Chiefs. We can't even make it to the neutral site game. Yeah, I'd be a little upset. I would. But, the Bills, they haven't been the same team since Von Miller got hurt. That lost their pass rush. And, that was one of the things because Joe Burrow definitely didn't hit the ground. Micah Hyde, he's been out for a long time. That's the even reason why DeMar Hamlin was even playing, because Micah Hyde was lost early in the year. Maybe the emotions from the whole situation in the play. I don't know. Whatever excuse you want to use, fine. But at the end of the day, the Buffalo Bills was a lot of people's picks in the preseason to win it all. And for them to lose in the fashion that they did at home, I'm sorry, but they failed. They failed. Complete failure. Like, every time I saw the Cincinnati Bengals run the ball, it felt like they was at least getting 5 yards a carry. And I'm looking at the stats. Collectively, they averaged 5.1 yards a carry. Like, Joe Mixon averaged 5.3 yards a carry. He had 105 yards on 20 carries and a touchdown. Samaje Perine, he come in. He averaged 4.7 yards a carry. Like, they did whatever they want. I'm looking at the game, and they just was physically abused out there. Like, is there any fight left in you? Like, what are we doing here? Like, why are we even playing this game? If I was a member of Bills Mafia, I'd be upset watching that game. In disbelief. Yeah, I know, in Buffalo that it's not too many teams to really, be excited for it. And I know the Bills are number one on that list, but man, that's brutal. That's brutal. Just watching it. The eye test shows that Cincinnati had a chip on their shoulder and they had something to prove. And Joe Burrow talking about after the game that for all those people that bought those tickets to that neutral site game, he was like, get your refunds. He told all those people, get your refunds. There's no need for you to go to that game because it's not happening anymore. Get your money back. Go get your money. I'm sorry for you all, wasting your money, but you can get your refund. That's basically the sentiment of what was happening after the game. Like, Joe Burrow is one of 3 quarterbacks that if I had to play against him, I'm scared. I'm nervous. Like, I know I got to bring my A game. Because apparently this dude don't care. He, if I'm not mistaken, he said once before that he doesn't ever see himself as an underdog. If that's not confidence, I don't know what to tell you. Like, Cincinnati got a real one. I mean, I learned that his rookie year before he tore his ACL. In the second game in his NFL career when they went against the Browns, I'm sitting here like, yeah, he is not the worst quarterback in this division. That is Baker Mayfield. In the second game, he surpassed Baker Mayfield, in my opinion. And yeah, the team stunk. Didn't really have too much of anything to work with, but he was making things happen. In his rookie year, then last year, of course, the magical run, and now this year, like, the Bengals are a legitimate team. And they, once again, travel to Arrowhead for a rematch of last year's AFC Championship game. I'm so excited to talk about it, and I'm going to save it. I'm going to save it for Thursday because there's so much to unpack in that matchup. So much. Now, one thing I did do after this game, this Bengals game, I did conduct a poll in our Facebook group. And I'm going to try to find those results really quick for you. But basically, the question was, is Joe Burrow greater than Josh Allen? We had 16 votes. 11 people said yes. 11. Right after that game, 11 people agreed with that statement. So, not saying that Josh Allen is an elite, which he definitely is. Josh Allen, that man is a prototype within itself. The only Achilles heel for Josh Allen to me is him turning over the ball as many times as he does. That is it. Probably trying to do too much at times and ends up turning the ball over, forcing things down the field or hanging on to the ball too long. He doesn't do as much, but he still do it enough to where you're scratching your head at times. So yeah. Bills go home. Stephon Diggs upset. Cincinnati keeps rolling. Cincinnati at Arrowhead next week. And then the last game, but surely not least, man, oh man, so much to unpack here. The Dallas Cowboys ended up losing to the 49ers 19-12. Now, this game was definitely a defensive bout. Like, we definitely saw both defenses on display. You know, we saw little chinks in Brock Purdy's armor there. Because at times he looked like a rookie. He did. I mean, but the same could be said and to a certain degree about Dak Prescott. I don't know, he's not a rookie, but he definitely did not look like the Dak Prescott from last week who balled out against a very pedestrian Tampa Bay secondary. No. He ran into a real defense, the 49ers defense, the number one defense in the league. And the two picks that he threw were 100% inexcusable. It's like, when you look at it, when you actually look at the replay, it's like what are you doing? You was better off throwing the ball away or taking a sack instead of trying to throw something that wasn't there. It was bad. And for Brock Purdy to, weather the storm, didn't turn the ball over, and for the Niners to continue to consistently try to get the running game going, and eventually, at the end of the third, fourth quarter, it started to work. It did. It was definitely a grinded out game. Kittle made a sensational catch off his helmet and bounced up in the air a couple of times. Christian McCaffrey, he started to get going a little bit in the fourth because they was, I give credit to Dallas. They were shutting down the running game. But, man, I mean, at the end of the day, Mr. Irrelevant, the completely last pick of the NFL draft this past April, outplayed Dak Prescott in his $35 to $40 million a year contract. Like, that doesn't sit well. I heard somebody say yesterday that this loss right here on Dak Prescott's resume is going to stain. This here's a stain that won't come out. And I kind of agree. I mean, Dallas, for the most part, had an excellent year. But Dak has been a turnover machine. It's like the Cowboys get in their own way. And between the quarterback play, between the coaching, I know Tony Pollard got hurt in the game. And he looked like the only real bright spot out there. But, instead of, trying to run the ball like the 49ers did, they ran more times. They ran 32 times and passed to 29. The Cowboys, on the other hand, threw it for 37 times and only rushed 22 times. If I'm not mistaken, Ezekiel Elliott, I know for, look, I know Tony Pollard is a better back than Ezekiel Elliott, but you still got Ezekiel Elliott, who last time I checked can still run the ball somewhat, right? He doesn't have that explosiveness like he once had, but he definitely can, be a bruiser in between the tackles. You only get the ball to that man 10 times. And then if we got to talk about the last play of the game, to where it looked like one of the dumbest plays you ever seen in your life, it exactly was. So yeah, they have only one person under center, which happened to be Ezekiel Elliott snapping the ball to Dak Prescott. Like, it looked like that Colts play from years ago, to where it was like fourth down and they was going for it instead of punting the ball. It just looked weird. So you had to actually see this play, the Colts play and this Cowboys play. It just doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense, and I guess that's probably why I saw a couple of fans. How fans react when they lose, especially Cowboy fans. My gosh. Yeah, one guy, punching the TV as soon as it was over. I saw that clip. But I think the biggest clip I saw was a guy took his TV. He went outside through the garage, threw the TV on the ground in the driveway, got in his pickup truck, pulled out of the driveway, and then hit the reverse and rolled over the TV. It was a nice looking TV too. He didn't care. All he knew was that he was hurt because the Cowboys let him down. And that's all he knew. And I remember about, a month ago, they showed this woman who had tattooed the Dallas Cowboys basically winning the Super Bowl this year on her chest. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm not one of those fans. I am a diehard Bears fan. Yeah, I do get upset, when I feel like they have expectations and it doesn't pan out. But man, I'm not going to that extreme to where I'm breaking TVs and all sorts of different things. It's not that serious. Not at all. But yeah, so next Sunday we have the Niners, Brock Purdy going into Philly to play the Eagles. And I really do believe we have the 4 best teams left that's playing right now. So I'm excited about that. So yeah, Thursday we're going to take a real good look at both of these teams because I'm excited. Definitely excited. But continue to rock with your boy right here on the No Offense Radio and No Offense Network. Follow me on social media at JGoodWithSports. We're talking about Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Like I mentioned, Thursday, we're getting right into this matchup. And anything else in the sports world that we need to talk about, we're going to talk about it. But until then, we almost at the end of January. Let's continue to push. Let's continue to get this money. You all be safe. But until next time, peace.